Hey, it's Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training, and in this video, we're gonna be going over some hitting tips for beginners. I'm gonna give you some basic but very powerful things to focus on in hopes to help you really make tremendous progress as a hitter. Because let's face it, especially when you're new to hitting, when you're new to the game of baseball, when you're just learning, there's so much information out there, there's so much conflicting information out there, and a lot of times you feel overwhelmed. You're not sure what to really focus on, what to prioritize, and what to practice. And so today I want to simplify things, again, give you some basic beginner tips. These are very, very simple things, but they're very, very powerful. And again, I think they're going to help you make tremendous progress at the plate. So without further ado, let's get started. The first tip I have for you is be aggressive and be excited to hit. I put this at the beginning of the video because I really think that this trumps pretty much all the other tips out there. It all starts with having this willingness, this excitement, this readiness, and this attack mentality at the plate, okay? You gotta swing hard at the plate, not overswing, but you gotta swing like you mean it, and you gotta have the mentality of, I'm not just trying to dink the ball somewhere and put the ball in play, or hit a little blooper, or hit a weak ground ball somewhere. I'm not trying to just put the ball in play, that passive approach. I am trying to do damage at the plate. I am trying to smoke a baseball here. I'm trying to hit a hard line drive into the gap somewhere, stay in gap to gap, maybe, mix in the occasional home run, right? But I have this mentality of, it's a killer instinct that all great hitters have. You got to have this mentality of, I'm not just trying to put the ball in play, I'm trying to knock the cover off of the baseball. And when you have this mentality, it's really going to help you in more ways than one. It's really going to help you maximize your bat speed and your exit velocity and your power, so you hit the ball harder and further. And not having this mentality, having a passive approach, is going to do really the exact opposite. You're never really going to live up to your full potential as a hitter. So that's number one. Don't overswing, but swing like you mean it. Swing like, hey, I'm trying to drive a ball with authority here. That's got to be your approach before you worry about anything else. The second tip I can't overemphasize enough: be on time. Good timing solves problems. Bad timing creates problems, okay? So I really want you to prioritize this in your training and batting practice, and really think about this as mission critical in a real game situation. Being on time is so important, because you can have the prettiest swing in the world, but if your timing's off, if you're way too early or way too late, or just maybe a mix of the two, and you can't seem to consistently arrive on time, you're really going to struggle at the plate, and you're probably going to have some mechanical things that show up in your swing that you might not have off of the tee or in soft toss or in batting practice, but they show up in a real game simply because your timing's off, right? You might have a problem with lunging, and it's not really, or getting disconnected, and it might not be that you're really truly lunging or getting disconnected. It's because your timing is so poor that that's causing other issues in your swing, right? If I'm way early on this pitch, right? Well, what happens when I'm way early is my brain is going to say, oh, the ball's not here yet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drifting out over my front side like this, or maybe my timing's way off and my brain's telling me, hey, the only way I can hit this pitch is if I get my arms extended out here like this. So I'm lunging, I've got my arms extended at contact, I'm disconnected at contact. That's a simple example of how not being on time, being way too early, can cause some major issues in your swing. I've seen some hitters who have really, quite frankly, a terrible baseball swing, but they have really, really good timing, and they're great hitters. And I've seen hitters who have the most beautiful swings out there, but they can't seem to figure out the timing piece, and they struggle with the plate. So you gotta be on time. That's a huge tip that I can give you. How do you be on time? I think it starts out at a basic level by dancing with the pitcher. In other words, just mirroring his movements, okay? So when he starts his motion towards the plate, when he lifts his front leg coming towards you, that's about the exact same time when you want to lift your front leg, right, and get your leg up and start going into your load. When he strides towards the plate towards you, that's about the time when you might want to start striding towards him, and you got to adjust accordingly. A guy that throws a little harder, you got to start that process a little sooner, and vice versa. If he throws a little slower, you can afford to start that a little bit later. But mirror the pitcher, and then time the fastball first and adjust to the slower stuff, because it's so much easier when you're on time for the fastball to just keep your hands back for just a split second and adjust to that slower stuff. But if you're thinking about the slower stuff and he juices a fastball, faster pitch up on you, it's going to be hard for you to catch up. So be on time, prioritize timing, and time the fastball and adjust to the slower stuff. Now, the third tip I have for you is watch the ball. Now, listen to me. I can already hear a lot of you guys tuning out right now and your eyes glazing over because you think this is such a basic tip. Listen to me, okay? You have got to watch the baseball. It's the same as being on time. You can have the prettiest swing in the world, but if you don't watch the baseball, then it does you no good because you can't hit what you can't see. So a lot of you guys are going to think this tip is very, very trivial, and the reason why is because it's the first thing that you learn when you start playing the game of baseball, right? Everybody tells you, watch the ball. You see little 4-year-olds hitting a baseball off the tee and they swing and miss and they say, oh, keep your eye on the ball, watch the ball. And so because it's the first tip that we learn, a lot of times we think we're beyond that, or that tip is kind of beneath us, and it couldn't be further from the truth. It's so much more fun for a lot of hitters to worry about, leg kicks and bat speed and exit velocity and launch angle and all that kind of stuff. That's what hitters tend to want to focus on. But I'm here to tell you that the real secret, one of the things that you should really emphasize before all that stuff, is watch the ball, because you can't hit what you can't see, okay? So this is a skill that you need to constantly be working on, honing in this skill in batting practice. And then, whether you're in BP or you're in a real game, right? Obviously, to watch the baseball, you got to pick it up from, it starts by picking the ball up from the pitcher's window, right? Where's the ball coming from? Figure it out and pick the ball up out of his hand, out of the window, and truly try to, see the baseball with both eyes and watch the baseball all the way into the hitting zone, all the way into your baseball bat, right? Watch the ball the entire time. And even after you make contact with the ball, keep your head down through contact like this. Keep your head looking down. Don't peek, don't look up to see where the baseball is. You'll have plenty of time to watch the baseball as it's flying over the fence, right? But I can't overemphasize this enough. Watching the ball is so important, but it's not talked about near enough. Watch the ball. Tip number 4 is get to a good launch position. So we're going to talk mechanics here just for a second. I promise I'll keep it very basic for you so it's easy for you to understand. But launch position, when I was younger, I didn't even know really what launch position was, let alone how critical it is in the baseball swing to get to a good launch position. So that's why I want to cover it, right now in this particular video with you, okay? But the reason why it's so important is because there are really 2 times during the baseball swing where every single great hitter looks exactly the same or very close, okay? If you look at a big league game, you're going to see every single hitter has a slightly different stance, and they might have their hands in a little bit of a different place, some open, some closed with their feet, all that sort of stuff. So that doesn't matter as much. Yes, it's important, but it's individual towards the hitter. There's no right one way to do that. However, at the launch position and at the point of contact, the impact position, all great hitters look nearly identical. So it's very important for you to get to a good launch position, right? Because, and your launch position, which I'll show you in a second, is just when your stride foot hits the ground. So you load and you stride. When your front foot hits the ground, what position are you in? That's your launch position, okay? But you got to get to a good launch position because this is the first domino that you need to knock down. If you knock down this domino, the rest of them are going to fall. The rest of your swing tends to take care of itself. Everything else tends to seamlessly fall into place if you get to a good launch position. So what does a good launch position look like? Let me just give you a couple things here. So you're in your stance. Again, that varies hitter to hitter. There's no right one way to stand, okay? Then you're gonna go into your load, and then you're gonna stride, okay? So I'm getting ready for the pitch. Now the pitcher, he's winding up and he's starting his motion towards the plate. I'm gonna load against my backside or into my back hip here. So I load, right? And then I stride forward, and when my front foot hits the ground, if you freeze frame your swing, this is considered your launch position. A couple things to point out. I'm in an athletic position here. I'm sunk down into my legs. That allows me to utilize my lower half in the baseball swing, right? My front foot landed slightly open. It's like 45 degrees open. So I didn't land with it closed. I didn't land with it completely open. I landed with it about 45 degrees open like this, okay? Athletic position here. My eyes are obviously on the baseball, right? My hands are back. I've got good separation between my upper and my lower body here, okay? So my hands, as I strided forward towards the pitcher, I walked away from my hands, so my hands are now back here like this. I've got good length in this front arm. I can feel a stretch right here in my lats on my front side, okay? And then the angle of my bat, pay attention to the angle of my bat. My knob is facing down towards the catcher. That's very important. I don't want my knob facing the first base dugout. I don't want my knob facing the pitcher like this. That's gonna cause other issues in my swing, okay? So that's why the launch position is so important. If you get to a good launch position, the rest of your swing tends to take care of itself. If you get to a bad launch position where you're not sunk down into your legs, or you have a bad angle with your bat or something like that, your body's gonna be fighting itself, and it's gonna be harder for you to really string together any consistency as a hitter. The next tip is get and stay on plane for as long as possible. This means matching the plane of the pitch. Too many hitters are too late to get their bat in the hitting zone or on plane with the pitch, and they come out of the hitting zone or off plane way too early, okay? So we wanna get our bat on plane and stay on plane for as long as possible. Every single pitch that comes in is gonna have a plane, right? And most pitchers are going to throw overhand, and of course the catcher's back here and he's squatting down. They're on an elevated mound, so you know the pitch is not going to come in on an upward plane like this, and the pitch is not going to come flat either. The pitch is going to come on a downward plane, and every single pitch is going to have a little bit of a different trajectory, you know, whether it's a straight four-seam fastball or a pitch with a little cut on it, or you know, obviously off-speed pitches, curveballs and things like that are going to have a different, you know, trajectory, a different path. But everything has a plane, and our job as hitters is we want to match that plane for as long as we possibly can. So we want to get our bat on plane with the pitch as early as we possibly can. So like way back here, you know, like this, we want to get our baseball bat on plane with the pitch. We obviously want to be on plane here and here and here. We want to be on plane when we make contact with the baseball. And then obviously after we hit the ball, we want to stay on this plane for as long as we possibly can. Too many hitters, again, are, you know, too late to get on plane, and then a lot of them are too early to get off plane. They're like on plane at the point of contact, and then they immediately after contact roll their wrists like this, prematurely roll their wrists, and that causes their bat to come off plane with the pitch. So a great way to think about this, some players have described this as, you know, just as a mental cue for you. Keep your bat on the train tracks for as long as possible. So the pitch is coming in, most pitches are coming in on a downward trajectory. That means matching that trajectory means our swing is going to be slightly up, and we want to keep our bat, get it on those train tracks as early as we can, and keep it on those train tracks for as long as we possibly can, okay? So big thing to think about, right? Very, very important. You know, obviously we talked about how critical timing is, and having an aggressive mentality and watching the baseball and getting to a good launch position. And if you then couple that with getting your bat on plane early and staying on plane with the pitch for a long period of time, you're gonna have no issues whatsoever as a hitter. So just a couple more things on staying on plane. You know, that means that we're not, if the ball's coming in on a downward angle, we're not swinging down on the baseball like this, right? Because that is way too steep in the zone, okay? We're also not having this huge uppercut like this, because think about my down cut is like this, my uppercut is the other way like this, and my margin for error is very, very thin when I'm swinging in such extremes, okay? So the best swing, as Ted Williams once said, is slightly up, matching that plane of the pitch. And another thing about matching the plane of the pitch is, you know, it allows you to not be so perfect with your timing, which is awesome. You have a bigger margin for error, right? But if I am in the zone, you know, really, my barrel angle, my bat angle is way too steep, and so I'm in and out of the zone really quickly, or, you know, I'm trying to get on top of the ball, swinging down, or I've got this huge uppercut, or whatever the case may be. If I'm in and out of the zone too quickly, I gotta be right with my timing. I gotta be right here, right now. I gotta be on time. Whereas if I match the plane of the pitch for a really long time, I can afford to be a little late or a little bit early. We want to have good timing, but if I'm way late, but I get my barrel on plane with the pitch, I can maybe still foul this pitch off. I can hit this pitch down the right field line. Obviously, I want to hit it about right there, and if I stay on plane, I can be a little early, and I can still hit the baseball like out here like this before my bat comes off plane. But that's never going to happen if my bat comes off plane too quickly. You see what I mean? So very important, get on plane and stay on plane for as long as you can. And the last tip I got for you, last but certainly not least, because this one's really important, hit the ball at the right spot. And I mean two things when I say this, okay? Every single pitch location, whether it's inside, middle, away, up, down, whatever, every pitch location is gonna have a different contact point. And every pitch location, whether it's inside, middle, away, is gonna have a different area of the field where you ideally wanna hit that baseball, right? but you're really gonna struggle at the plate if, let's say, the pitcher throws you an inside pitch like this, and you allow that inside pitch to get way too deep on you like this. You're really gonna struggle as a hitter. And vice versa, you know, on an away pitch, if you're consistently making contact with away pitches instead of letting the ball travel and letting it get a little bit deeper, if you're consistently way out here like this on away pitches, obviously you're gonna struggle there, right? You're also gonna struggle if you try to take inside pitches to the opposite field and if you're trying to pull pitches away. So you wanna hit the ball where it's pitched. On an inside pitch, we're gonna hit that ball a little bit further out in front, and we wanna hit that ball to our pull side ideally. On a middle pitch, we're gonna let the ball travel a little bit longer, still hit it out in front of the plate, and we're gonna stay in the middle of the field. And on an away pitch, we're gonna let that ball travel still a little bit farther, okay? Still watch the ball and let it get a little bit deeper, still hitting it out in front. But on an away pitch, those are the ones that we drive with authority to the opposite field, okay? So every single pitch location, if it's inside pitch, pull it and hit it out front. If it's a middle pitch, stay in the middle of the field, hit it a little bit out in front of your front foot, and on an away pitch, let it travel a little bit deeper, okay, and hit that ball to the opposite field. That's what you want to do ideally. And when you just get in the batter's box, brand new at bat, right, start out with your mentality of, I'm staying gap to gap, middle of the field, baby. I'm staying gap to gap, and then adjust accordingly. Then hit the ball where it's pitched. If he throws you in, pull it. If he throws you away, hit it to the opposite field. But that's really gonna help you as a hitter. So that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave it a like and be sure you're subscribed to the channel. That way you never miss any of our upcoming baseball videos. And we got a lot of other great videos on the channel waiting for you to watch right now. So be sure to go and watch some of those older videos. And last thing, hitters, I put together an awesome free gift for you. It's called the Contact Point Checklist, and you can download it 100% free by just clicking on the link down below in the pinned comment, okay? Click on that link, and this free contact point checklist is gonna make sure your swing looks picture perfect at the point of contact so that you can really improve your consistency at the plate and hit the ball harder and further and have more confidence and have more fun on the field, which is what it's all about. So 100% free, go download that right now. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.